right, well, you know what? I'm just gonna come and sit here. Welcome to another episode of Hey. Walking in. Welcome to another episode of Hey China with Emperor Meow. I'm Emperor Meow. Bet you didn't know that. So today's episode is... We're actually gonna talk about a myth. Ooh. It's called开天辟地. And the literal translation means heaven separated from earth. In some of the earlier episodes, I know I talked about Yandi, Huangdi, Yao Shunyu, and all those actual figures. Well, in today's idiom, we're actually going to be talking about a figure who may or may not existed, but this is how the Chinese people interpreted how the world was created. So it's a really, really fascinating story. I loved it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And then I'll teach you guys how you can use it in everyday language. Because you can. So according to a legend a long, long time ago, the sky and the earth were together in this glob of a mess. And it kind of looked like an egg. So it was like a really cool cosmic egg. Actually, it kind of looks like soybean. So imagine this was the world a long, long time ago. And the sky and the ground were just like stuck together. Yeah, that's how tight it was. And everything was just darkness. There was no up or down or left or right. Everything was just sort of, congealed together. Now, one day, about 18,000 years after this cosmic egg came into being, an entity actually made its way out of the egg. And that entity was known as Panku, or in Chinese is actually Panku. So I'm actually going to use Panku for the rest of this idiom. All right, so Panku made his way out of this cosmic egg, and he looked around and he was like, ooh, I can't see anything here. Everything is so dark and foggy, like Los Angeles smog a few years ago. I'm just kidding. I love Los Angeles. All right. So Panku made his way out and he couldn't see anything and he decided to do something about it. So what he did was Panku was pretty much this like super genie. He had a lot of powers because, back then when you were a mythological being, you get any power you want. So Panku conjured up this magical axe, and he used the axe to sort of hack his way through this smog or this glob of confusion. And he kept hacking with his magic axe, and slowly the sky became clear, and the muck that was on the ground became the earth. And when he finally saw the sky separated from the earth, he decided that he had to keep it apart with his own body, because if not, then the contents within the earth would be crushed. So if the sky and the earth didn't come together, it would look like this today. It would look like Burger Bun. All right, so sorry about that. I swear no animals were abused during the filming of this episode. Where was I? Panku decided that the sky and the earth had to be kept apart. So he used his own body and he sacrificed himself by putting his hands up against the sky, kind of like Atlas. He just like held up the sky and he firmly set his foot on the ground, and it was almost like weightlifting. You can kind of imagine the action that he went through, and he just kind of wedged his back and his shoulders against the sky and just held it up. What's crazy is that Panku actually stayed in this position for another 18,000 years, and he made sure that the sky and the earth will never touch again. And it was actually in this position that Panku slowly passed away. But the good thing was that his whole essence blended in with the world. Panku's every breath became the wind that we feel, and all the sounds that he used to make became the thunder that we hear. His left eye became the sun and his right eye became the moon. His hair and his beard became the stars that we see at night. And the blood that was once coursing through his veins became the rivers and the oceans that we see today. So, yeah, that's how the Chinese people explain how the world was created. That was fun, right? Yeah? Did you learn something? So this idiom actually came from a myth, and that's actually a very common characteristics of a lot of our idioms. They just come from myths, stories, folktales that are passed down from one generation to the next. But we actually use the term "开天辟地" in a lot of our day-to-day uses. For instance, if we want to say that something was unprecedented, you can say that this person, 开天辟地 and did this or that. For example, George Washington was our first president. Nobody ever did that before. You can literally say that George Washington separated the heaven and the earth. So it sounds a lot better in Chinese. Basically, all right, in layman's terms, 开天辟地nowadays just means that somebody was a trailblazer in whatever they're doing. Yeah, you gotta be a pioneer like Panku. He was the first pioneer, if you want to put it that way. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I'm so excited that you guys have watched this far. Yeah, Soybean and I are really excited too. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Bye. No, because my eyelash is falling off. Yeah. Okay, I gotta go now because my eyelashes are falling off.